Alright, welcome back. This video is a follow-up to my Build a Music Production PC video. Today we'll discuss the issues to watch out for when you're building a PC for music production, what you need to know and what to avoid to build the best machine tailored to your needs. I'll include chapters so you can skip to the sections that interest you. Plus, stay tuned because I got an upcoming video on building a PC more oriented towards the video production aspects, so don't forget to subscribe. First up, let's talk about some common issues. The Intel 13th and 14th gen CPUs have experienced stability degradations and some issues with temperatures and clock speeds. And also, many DAWs don't fully utilize the eCores, except Pro Tools, Cubase and Reaper. The other DAWs are using it, but they are not fully utilizing the eCores. On the AMD side, the 9000 series have some latency issues due to core parking. So if you are going to use a newest CPU from AMD, I would suggest you not going more than 8 cores if you really want to stay on the stability and low latency realm. Alright. Additionally, outside of music production, Intel has shown latency issues with Windows 11. A point discussed by Brian from TechYesCity. He was talking about the overall snappiness of the system. So, while this information comes from Brian, the core parking information comes from the Italian channel Mir Computers, which also noted that ASUS has had more issues than other brands, like motherboards and stuff like that. I will leave the channels like up here somewhere. Alright, so after talking about some common issues that you may find on modern processor, let's talk about your specific use case. Because you can really spend a lot of money buying all the high-end components, but it's crucial to create a balanced and functional build. So, if you're recording real instruments, you're doing live performances, you probably want a machine that works with low latency and with the most stability. If you are a MIDI composer, an orchestral composer, a bedroom producer that uses a lot of virtual instruments, you may want to have a lot more RAM and not necessarily care that much about low latency. So, different builds for different needs, alright? So let's dive into what you really need. I have actually two build suggestions, one AMD and one Intel. I know that Intel is not the cool choice right now, but having Thunderbolt support and usually faster RAM support as well could be beneficial for this particular use case. To avoid issues with efficiency cores, I recommend the Intel i5-12600, not the K version, because it doesn't have any eCores, and also offers QuickSync for video editing. So if you need it, QuickSync is very useful. For AMD, consider the Ryzen 7, the 7700X or the 9700X. These 8-core CPUs hits the sweet spots for the majority of DAWs, and you really don't need overkill. You know, with modern processors are already extremely powerful. So fast RAM with low cache latency and speedy storage are crucial. Check the recommended speeds that your CPU can handle and ensure a good balance between the mega transfers and the cache latency. I would suggest to go to 6000 mega transfer, cache latency like maybe 28. If you can find lower, I don't even know, but you can do it. And I would aim for like 32 gigs of RAM. When selecting a motherboard, also make sure that it has all the ports that you need. More M2 slots are a plus, you know. And while stuff like Wi-Fi or even Bluetooth isn't essential, you know, you can live without it. Now, if you are a mixing or a mastering engineer or a composer as well, you might want a CPU with more cores and a beefier one. So for this, I recommend the Ryzen 9 7900, the non-X version. This CPU has 12 cores as well, but it's much more energy efficient, so you can also make some smaller builds if you want, or if you live in hot climates like me. I'm Italian, so here summer times can be really a toll to your machine. I've seen builds using this CPU works flawlessly, and I link a video from Marius Tarsiatu. I don't know how it's pronounced, but for reference I would put it somewhere here. A PC for composing and for mixing, you should also have a lot of RAM to utilize sample libraries fully. So if you're using a lot of like contact instruments or whatever, Omnisphere stuff, aim for at least 64 gigs of RAM. You can always double it later. Now let's cover the other components that I use for any build discussed today, like the power supply, the PSU. I would choose a powerful but quiet one. For my personal builds, I would go with the Be Quiet Straight Power, the Straight Power 12, 750 watts. Should be plenty for the processor, but you can also add a GPU later. And also there is the PSU tier list. I will leave the link somewhere here, there, but you can check out the PSU tier list for options and reference. As for the case, you have two options, quiet or cool. And for quiet builds, consider the Fractal Pop Silence, which features some sound dampening materials on the inside of the case. And for cooling, you can use the Fractal Design Pop Air. That's a great choice with plenty of included fans, so you can cheap out a little bit, and having already all the fans cover up. For the CPU cooler, I recommend the Arctic Freezer 36. I watch a lot of comparisons with like the most expensive one, like the Noctua, and while the Noctua is slightly better, the price difference may not justify the upgrade. Then of course this is a video talking about the audio production and aspects. So we should talk about audio interfaces, right? So for me personally, I'm looking to buy the Audient ED24 for its low noise floor, and also because it got really nice preamps. And I will leave a video from Get Beautiful Recordings about a comparison between a ton of audio interfaces, so you can also choose which one is better suited for you. I would like to answer to a comment that was left to my other video. Don't pair a $50 DAC with $300 headphones, or vice versa. It's always better to keep a balanced approach for DACs. I don't have any expensive headphones. I use monitors, and so I tend to use the integrated DAC inside my audio interface, so to each his own, right? Lastly, consider why you want to upgrade your PC. Like if it's broken or unable to meet your needs, then go for it, alright? But remember, you don't need the latest and greatest tech to get the job done. I recorded an entire metal EP using a laptop with an Intel i5 10th gen and like 8 gigs of RAM. So sure, it wasn't blazing fast, but with freezing and rendering, it proves that you can succeed with a budget-oriented build, alright? So you can also consider a setup with like 12400 or AMD 8600G, 16 gig of RAM, and yeah, you should be able to work your way up. And also you can always upgrade later, so that's the beauty of building your own PC, right? So anything should work pretty well, also latest gen, and allow for some other future upgrades as well. So that's it, that's the wrap. I may have missed something, so feel free to leave a comment, and I will pin some affiliate links in the description of this video. So that's it. Thank you for watching and see you next time.